What are ND filters?
Drone fans, to another exciting episode of Jamdong Drones. Today it's all about the ND filters for the DJI Mini 2. Notice that I've also brought along the DJI Mavic Air 2 because I got some filters with this drone as well. In this episode you're going to be learning about when to use the right filters for the right kind of shot. Stay tuned guys. So drone fans, the ND filters that you see here for the DJI Mini 2 is just really sunglasses for the lens on this drone, because you know that sometimes when you're out flying it's so bright out that all your image becomes overexposed and your lens or your sensor has a very hard time in terms of getting those colors right because of how bright the sun is. So this is where the ND filters comes in. These, as you'd hear on many other YouTube channels, would be like sunglasses for your sensor, and it does exactly that. So it kind of cuts the strong rays of the sunlight and it allows us to open the exposure more in our settings for the camera. Now if we turn and we look over toward the mountains, because I'm back in the countryside again guys, and it's the best place for us to do these tests, away from, you can hear the goats in the background, it's away from, you know, people, a lot of people and so on, so we have quite a bit of area that we can test. Now these are the Globe Act ND filters, and this is a filter combo for the Mavic Mini 2. I am in no way a proprietor, or nor am I aligned to this company. I'm not aligned to DJI either. I just think that these are good products and I like to do reviews on them. So this is the ND filter set that I bought, and we get 6 ND filters with varying strengths and types. So a good rule of thumb is that before you put on your ND filter, you want to clean your ND filter, and that is to make sure that there's no, you know, dirt or scratches on it that, you know, would probably affect your shot. So this cleaning cloth comes with the 6 mix package that we get here from Globe Act, and I'm just pulling the cleaning cloth out and I'm getting ready to clean the ND8 filter. So this is it guys, this is the ND filter. It has this metallic hook that will latch onto the back of our gimbal here, so I'm just being very gentle in cleaning it, and I'm using the softer side, so I'm putting around the back here and I'm putting around the front here, and I'm kind of doing tiny circles like that, and every now and again you inspect to make sure that it is clean. And look at that guys, front and back is clean. So time to get this on the drone. So to get the ND filter on the gimbal, it's very easy. You want to first pick up the drone and angle the gimbal downwards. Okay, now I'm going to be using my fingers to kind of hold this gimbal in place while we do this. So I'm holding right here and I'm just going to kind of slide it on, and it's very easy guys. Oh, one more thing before I forget, cleaning the ND filter is very important, but cleaning the camera is also very important, and it's a good thing I remembered, because even if your ND filter is clean, if this camera is dirty, it's not going to really help your footage. Okay guys, so we're just going to be connecting the ND filter here to our gimbal, and we're holding the gimbal with our thumb and the middle finger here, and I'm just going to ensure that these hooks are nicely attached to the back of our gimbal. So there we go, and if you look around to the back, you see that the hooks dig into the grooves here that you see for the gimbal, so it's not going anywhere guys, and when it's on, this is what it looks like. So how cool is that? Look at that guys, so it's looking real nice. Okay guys, so different ND filters will go on in different ways. For the Mini 2, the ND filter slips on with a hook in this case, but for the Mavic Air 2 it's a little bit different. This is a twist to lock mechanism, so you have to twist this portion here to get this off, and in order to get the ND filter on, it's the same motion only in reverse. So let's say that I'm putting on this ND filter here. This is a ND filter, this is a 256 ND filter, and this will come with the Fly More combo if you buy this for this drone. So I'm just gonna put it on like this. Let me just get it nicely positioned, right? So there it is, and then I'm gonna twist like that, and there it is on. So the Mavic Air 2's ND filter goes on in a different way, and the Mini 2 goes on in a different way, but they both do the same thing. They both allow us to open our exposure values so that we can get more details and sharpness in our shot because of how dark these ND filters are. So enough talking, let's go flying. Okay guys, so we're going to be experimenting with each of these ND filters. We're going to try out every single one of them, and for each of them you're going to see the footage. So let's start with the ND8 filter, which is sitting right in the middle right here, and then we'll go to the 16, and then we'll go to the 32, followed by the CPL filter, the UV filter, and the ND64 for the last filter. Okay drone fans, we'll kick things off using the ND8 filter. The camera is set to automatic mode, and here you'll see that the manual meter is round about -1.3, which means that the image automatically is underexposed. And guys, it is okay that the footage is underexposed because it is diffusing light as it enters the lens of our ND filter. So you'll have to do a bit of tweaking. Now it's time for the ND16 filter. The footage should be a bit darker this time. So we'll see just how dark it gets by using a filter that is much higher than the ND8. Here in this shot we see that it's a bit darker and the highlights and the shadows are a bit more pronounced. And this is because the ND16 is a bit darker than the ND8. You want to go for a value between -1.3 or -1.7 for your manual meter. The ND32 filter is up next, and it should be a bit darker than the ND16. And remember drone fans, you can use these ND filters for taking long exposure shots as well. I'll leave that for another video. Notice this time that the manual meter is now at -2.7, which means that the image is severely underexposed, and more than likely would not be usable. So you want to strike for a number between -1.7 or -1.3. Now there are settings in the camera that we can tweak in order to affect the manual meter. In this case, we can change the shutter speed by shortening it to make it brighter or increasing it to make it longer. Typically, you do not want to mess with the ISO because that's just going to add more digital noise to your footage, and you don't want to do that. So even at the lowest shutter speed, this image is still underexposed at -2.3. So this shows us that this filter clearly would be the wrong filter for the conditions that we're shooting in now. So guys, you want to keep trying the different filters until you get one that works for you. Now we're on to the darkest ND filter in the entire set. This is the ND64 filter. And as you can see, the image is underexposed just like before, and it's more darker than before. The manual meter is now at -3.0, which means that just like before when we spoke about underexposed images, this one would be severely underexposed. And moving the shutter speed around wouldn't do much, so it's best to use another filter. We have a very special filter. This filter is known as the CPL filter. This is the first type of filter in the set that's a polarizer, which means that it removes the sheen or shininess from an object. Objects like water and metal no longer appear shiny once this ND filter is applied. So if you're flying over the sea, or you're shooting in a location with a lot of reflective surfaces, you may want to give this ND filter a try. I find this ND filter to be very interesting because unlike the other ND filters, we can adjust this by turning the gauge that it comes with. Now, the more we adjust it is the more we increase or decrease the polarizing effect. That is, how shiny we want the surface to appear in our video. So drone fans, have you ever used a polarizer before? If not, you might want to give it a try. Finally, we have the UV ND filter. I found this ND filter to be very interesting because it exposes the image quite nicely, even without me having to do a lot of tweaking the settings. So, on a very bright day, the UV filter goes a far way in terms of lessening the brightness and increasing the shadows and highlights for your shot. So far, the UV ND filter is my favorite ND filter because of how nicely it exposes the image. So drone fans, having learned all about filters today, which filter do you want to try out first? Comment down below. Until then, it's Jamdong Drones, over and out.